Hi there, Sandra here from the Schwowin's Nest. Are you ready for some super cute DIYs? Stay tuned. And if you haven't done this yet, I'd love for you to hit that red subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, and click the bell to get notified when I upload new videos. So I'm going to start out with these little jack-o'-lanterns that came from Crafter's Square at the Dollar Tree. There's 5 in a pack. These little orange ones I picked up at Dollarama. They're little thank you cards, but I don't end up using them for this craft. I'm also taking some little squares of really thin cardboard. You'll see later on that I'm working with 2 pieces of cardboard for each pumpkin. You actually only need the one. I did have an idea in my head of what I was going to do with these little pumpkins, but then realized I had a previous idea that I liked better, so I really only needed to glue on one piece of the cardboard. Here's where I glued on both pieces of cardboard, which wasn't necessary, but I am going to show you that anyway because that's how they turned out. So I'm gluing them just with some hot glue, one on the back and one on the front, basically just covering up that jack-o'-lantern face. Here's what I wanted to do originally. I'm taking a Dollar Tree buffalo check bag and I'm going to cut out pumpkin shapes and glue them on one side of the pumpkins. I've cut out 3 pumpkin shapes, and what I'm going to do with the back of those shapes is paint them with just some white latex paint, and then the buffalo check will go on the front. The other 2 pumpkins will get both sides painted with white. The 3 buffalo plaid pumpkins are now glued on to the wood pumpkins, and because this buffalo plaid plastic is really bright and shiny, I'm going to take my matte Mod Podge and give it one coat just to dull the shine down just a little bit. It actually works out really well. For the 2 white pumpkins, I'm going to dry brush some black onto them, give them more of a rustic look, and then I'm also going to use a fine artist's brush and just put in some of the grooves to make it look more like a pumpkin. Today's video is part of the DIY Mommy's Fall DIY and Decor Challenge. Christina has an amazing channel. Fantastic DIYs. She has so much imagination and creativity. You've got to go over, tell her I sent you, and hit that red subscribe button. Next, I'm using some jute twine all around the edges of the pumpkin. I want to cover up the cardboard and the wood and just make it look more finished and high-end. I'm just using hot glue and placing the twine and gluing it in a few spots all the way around just to make sure it's secure. Now I'm going to assemble the garland, and what I've done is taking 4 strands of jute twine, and I think they're probably about 4 to 4.5 feet long. I tied a knot at both ends, and this is what I'm going to use to glue on to the back of my pumpkins. I wanted the jute twine to look a little bit thicker, but I didn't want to use jute rope because I thought it would be just too much. Here's my little pink silicone fingertip from the Dollar Tree, really handy when it comes to wanting to glue little things like this, especially fabric, and sometimes plastic and paper gets really hot with hot glue. I'm going to continue gluing the rope to the back of the pumpkins, leaving about 5 to 6 inches of rope in between. I looked at the garland and I felt it needed a little bit something in between. So I have these little acorns that I collected from my front yard. I have a beautiful oak tree, and sometimes the squirrels will leave me a few acorns, but most of the time they eat them all up, so I can't actually harvest any. But I've got some, so I'm going to add a couple of them in between the pumpkins, just right on the jute twine. I also wanted to embellish a little bit more with a buffalo plaid shopping bag. So I'm cutting about a 1.25 inch strip. I'm just taking 2 of the little squares, and I'm going to cut a long strip, and I'm going to create some little ribbons or dovetailed little pieces for the banner. I'm not quite sure what you would call what I'm making, but I think they would be like the tails of a ribbon. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut some pieces, and then I'll show you how I put them together. I'm not sure if all of you would make these this way, but this is the easiest way that I figured out to make them. I've got 2 8-inch strips here. 1/8" strip will be enough for one of the tails. I'm cutting a V into the ends of them so they have that dovetailed look. And then I'm going to take one of the strips, find the center, and then twist it just so it comes around twice. So basically I'm going to twist once, twist twice, and there I've got both of the colors showing up really nicely there. And that's what I'm going to glue onto the acorn area of the garland. When you're done watching my video, I would appreciate it if you could click that playlist link and go see what all the other YouTube creators have made for this challenge. You are sure to be inspired. For project number 2, I picked up 2 of these little topiary pumpkins from my Dollarama store. They were only $4. They're ceramic, they're really high quality, and I just love them. The one thing I don't love about them is the orange color. I'm doing more neutral colors in my fall decor, more of a farmhouse style, so I decided to give these a couple of coats of white chalk paint. I'm also going to fill in the lettering that's on here because it's grooved fairly thick. But what's going to happen is you're still going to be able to see the words. So I'll probably use these for Thanksgiving as well as just for fall decor. The white is dry. I've got a couple coats on here, and now I'm just taking some black paint and I'm going to just paint the undersides of these leaves anywhere where I got some white paint on them. I'm also going to do a little dry brushing on the top of the leaves. I don't mind the green, but there's a little bit of orange in there, so I just want to give it a little bit more depth and color. The last project I have for you today are these shutters. I painted these gray and distressed them white last year when I created my Dollar Tree faux window design. I will have that video linked down in the description box. But they've been up there for a year. I like the gray, but I really wanted to do them white. So they'll get a couple coats of a DIY chalk paint, just using latex paint and some baby powder. That will be down in my description box, the recipe, if you want to see how I do that. And then I'm going to distress them with some black. This is how I dry brush. I take a little bit of paint on the brush and then I dab it off. Then I start dry brushing, which means just dragging the brush along your project with a very light touch to start, just so you have more control of how much paint is going to actually get on there. Once you're comfortable with it, you can just start layering on more color to give it more depth. You can go into different areas of it, maybe a little bit more on the edges. In a moment, you're going to see me just run that brush right up and down those wood shutter pieces, and that's just going to give it a really cool distressed look. Here it is. It just looks so neat having that distressed look. It just looks so natural. Here's the space now. I did end up adding a shelf around Christmas time because I wanted to put more things underneath this window, and I think it looks absolutely gorgeous. The pumpkins turned out absolutely beautiful. I really love them, and I've got the letters turned towards the back. I'm going to leave them like this for fall, but closer towards Thanksgiving, I'll probably flip them around so you can see the words. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'd like to thank the DIY mommy, Christina, for hosting the challenge. As I said earlier, if you haven't already done so, I'd love for you to stick around a while and hit that red subscribe button. You can click the bell to get notified when I upload new videos, and hitting that like button, the thumbs up, really helps my channel grow. Thanks for watching!